You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
You're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where best friends recap romance novels while screaming about boundaries and wondering if there's a gender-neutral term for aunt and uncle.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Hey HBs! As you know, we love our Patreon community. So our huge thanks goes out to Josh K, Deborah, Koval, Miss M, Mel P, Theodora, and Molly M.N. When we left you yesterday, our horny couple just had fully naked sex on the snack table of their single-parent support group in the middle of a community center gymnasium. Look, no judgment, just thoroughly impressed at the boldness and had to say it again. So, as we jump in, they're officially dating. Here's the conclusion to Going Down Easy by Erin Nichols.
So anyway, they end up going on a swamp tour together, like the four of them.
Sorry, wait, quickly. We'll do it very quickly, but we have to do group kid night, okay? Because two very important things happen. One, he sees
Cooper's
her...
the cutest thing in the whole world.
Oh my God, he's a nugget that must be protected at all costs. So he sees her parenting style because Stella is very outgoing and gregarious and daring. And he watches Addison just sort of like sit off to the side and not correct her, not guide her, not do anything, just pay attention so that if Stella ends up needing something, Addison's right there. And he's like, that is a really cool way to parent. That's really neat. And then as Cooper like finishes up one game, he, apropos of nothing, goes over to Stella and he says, "Can I sit on your lap?" And she's like, "Oh, I get, like, why do you want to sit on my lap?" And he says, "Because your shirt is blue. I really like blue." And she's like, "Oh, okay, sure."
You're also sitting still.
Yeah, and nobody else is sitting still. Yeah. And so she gets him on her lap and they're just like quietly chatting, getting to know each other. She at first is like, did he send Cooper over here? But then it becomes very clear that like, no, this was spontaneous. Then Gabe comes over so that he can like drool and pant at her on the side, watching her be cute with his son. It's so cute.
They are so horny for each other being good parents.
I mean, that was the other most relatable thing about this book. Before I had kids, I was never like, into the dad thing. But god damn it, some of the sexiest moments Michael is in the world is when he's like being an amazing dad in front of me.
I don't have kids. I have no intention of having kids anytime soon. If I ever even do. And somebody who's a good parent.
Yeah, the care and the nurturing.
Or good with kids. Like, oh man.
Sure.
A really good, like, Is there a gender neutral term for uncle and aunt?
Mm-mm. Not that I know of.
Huh. Okay. Well, anyway. Sorry. That just made me like hard stop because I was going to say like a really good uncle or aunt. Funkle. Ankle.
Aunt,
yeah.
uncle.
Uncle.
Is what it does.
Okay. Okay, I like it. Okay. A really good ankle.
Yeah.
I sound like England Times is what I sound. A really good ankle.
Oh, I got so hard when I saw her ankle. That was scandalous.
Oh man, I just like a person who's good with kids because like I love a kid. I don't want to have the kid 24/7, but like I love a kid, and if you also like a kid, if you get along with the kid, I love it.
You're gonna be fun. You're fun. So anyway, then she does the Cooper cheat code and she starts asking him about if she's correct about alligator facts. And he's like, what? Yes. You know about alligators too? And then they decide maybe to go on a swamp boat tour together, all four of them.
Cooper just looks at his dad very seriously and he's like, she might enjoy coming on the swamp tour. And Stella, and then she tells, oh my God, it was so cute. She's like, that's my daughter over there, Stella. And he like pauses and looks at her and he goes, she's very loud. And Addison's like, yeah, she's not always like that, but yes, yeah, sometimes she is. And he pauses very, very intently and then goes, well, it should be okay. It'll be outside. And he's like,
he's the sweetest.
Cooper, you're the cutest thing I've ever met in my life. I've ever read in my life. So anyway, she agrees. They all decide to go on the swamp tour, and
I think you were about to say this, but you got sidetracked for a minute. One of the things that Cooper says is like, Addison will be next to me not touching the alligator, but Stella needs somebody who wants to touch the alligator to do it with her. She needs a grown-up who wants to touch the alligator. That can be you. And he's just sitting there going, see, even Cooper sees how fucking perfect we are as a unit.
And like, it really is. Like, as a unit, they fit really perfectly because that's exactly what they do on the swamp tour. She and Cooper sit in the middle of the boat very safely. And meanwhile, Gabe is keeping Stella in the boat by the skin of her neck.
Yes.
Basically has her scruffed. And they're touching alligators together and all of the, and it was really perfect because Cooper, what a cute, thoughtful little kid. I'm obsessed with Cooper.
I know. Same.
He looks over somebody at some point and he was like, it's perfect because like Dad wouldn't go touch the alligators because I'm afraid of I don't want to touch the alligators. But like he gets to go, like he gets to enjoy his trip the way that he wants to enjoy it because Stella wants to enjoy it the same way. Yeah. Look how perfect it is. And meanwhile, Addison's like, yeah, it is kind of perfect. So like, I think that we're going to get like a 3.5 bath out, like just like a Metairie.
Truly.
Or like
her ovaries are just exploding everywhere. They get back to the house and she's like, one of the best, this is going to sound weird, but one of the best rooms in this house is my laundry room because it's like kind of secluded and I can put a table in front of the door. I think we should set the kids up with a project and then go fuck in that laundry room.
This turns into a thing. The entire book, they are desperately trying to fuck in this laundry room and they cannot because every time they get in there, they end up talking about the kids. They're like, but like, what do you think they're doing right now? Yeah. Do you think they're okay? They would make noise, right? Like,
and she's like, okay, look, I'm totally down with this. The first time it's him who's like, this is the weirdest, strangest moment of my life. But like, I think I can't fuck you right now. And we need to go hang out with our kids. And she's like, yes, absolutely. Let's go do that.
She's like, you can fuck me on a washer anytime you want. So like the offer is open, my friend. Yes. But listener, every time they try to go up on that offer, they get derailed. And it is so real life.
So then he's like, do you want to come to this masquerade ball with me? The biggest selling point is that it's on a plantation. She's so excited about this. I
hated it. So I love a plantation tour from a historical perspective,
Yeah.
right? There is history.
Don't host a ball at a plantation.
And
It's
it's
tough.
interesting from a history perspective. One of my biggest, any person that or like people who have their weddings on plantations, I'm like, I get it. It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
But the beauty is literally built on the backs and lives.
Yeah. And blood
of
and freedom
slaves.
of actual humans.
I've had multiple
Didn't they
people.
do a great job maintaining
I've had multiple
this
people
property?
who are like, yeah, I can't wait. I'm getting married this weekend or like whatever. Like we just signed blah, blah, blah. And then they say it's a plantation. And I'm like,
Oh, okay. All
Oh,
right.
okay.
She's so excited to be Scarlett O'Hara at this fucking plantation. And like, I don't understand the cognitive dissonance of being like, I'm going to be a Scarlett O'Hara, but not realizing that like that means you own people and like you can beat them anytime you want and you can take their kids away and like
you can just kill them
you can
because
just
they're
murder
your
them right on the
property.
spot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like people seem to never connect that part of it. You know,
Mhm.
it's
Like,
rough.
You're not gonna go like, are you gonna also go get married at Auschwitz? Like,
That's sort of what yes, like that's exactly what I thought when I was like trying to come up with parallels. I was like, are we,
I just
I don't get it.
I
It's
guess some
fine.
people are just able to and that was a very extreme example. I'm well aware of that. Like it's it's very different things in the sense like
Seems fine. Seems
well, but like Auschwitz
like
isn't
the plantations aren't community
pretty.
property.
No,
the
I know, but
way-
what I'm saying is like it's like it's aesthetically different, and so
Oh,
like
for
some
sure.
people are just capable of separating
Yeah.
those things. They don't make that connection.
Addison is
and
one of those people. She's like, I
can't-
can't wait
I don't
to get
understand
dressed up.
it.
And I cannot wait to just like have the best time of my life on a real Southern plantation. Addison, yikes. So they do. They're going to go to this thing. And then he says like, well, Cooper's going to be with my mom anyway. Why don't you just bring Stella over to my house and she'll watch both of them? Wow, sir, you did not clear that with your mom at all. And I do have questions about it because like the mom is a little abused.
I had questions about that until about 2 chapters from now when I went, Gabe, what the actual fuck is happening in your brain when she
Okay.
goes on that trip?
Oh my God.
So
Another time when I would just pull his larynx right out of his throat.
Oh yeah, it's a miracle this man has skin on his body after this, you know.
And she finds it charming, you know, lid for every pot, I guess.
Boy, and if this isn't an example of a book like that where I'm like, I could never.
No. Yeah.
So she gets a limo for them to go. And he is like, oh my goodness. So like, how extravagant. And she's like, well, yeah, but I figured we could like fuck on the way there. You know?
Obviously.
Like, we're parents. We have to like sneak sex in wherever we can. This is the most worthwhile limo rental I've ever made in my life.
Absolutely.
And then they do have some really hot sex in the back of that limo.
Except that they don't use a condom this time. And she has an IUD, but they always use a condom.
Specifically, she's always in charge of the condoms. And so this is something that they had a conversation about earlier in the book where she's like, I handle the condom and I have a backup birth control because like what happened, like I don't regret Stella.
Sure. But it's
there
not going to
will
happen again.
never be a Stella 2.0.
Right.
This is never happening to me again. Boy, Addison, you... Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, so they realize that, like, so it was a huge thing of trust at some point that he said, I've got the condom.
I have the condom, yeah.
And she was like, okay, cool. And she trusted him with that.
Mhm.
Boy, this would have been the last time Gabe was in charge of the condom because they both forgot about the condom.
Everybody forgot.
Because she trusted him to take care of it because he said, I'm going to take care of you and make sure that I catch you when you fall. And Gabe, this trust fall, she just landed. She's in the goddamn La Brea tar pit.
That's the one.
Sir.
Yeah.
Y'all worried about alligators. You just fucking dumped her in Lake Pontchartrain.
But it's crazy. It's crazy.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
So then they get there, they have like a good time. This is the time when he's like, do you want to go back to the apartment with me? And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, before you say yes, I just need you to know that I will not be fucking you all night long.
How'd you like this melody?
I hate it.
I thought of you the minute it happened.
But I did like what happens, like something that he says right after. So I'll tell you that too. Because he says, I'm not going to be fucking you all night long. If you come back to that apartment with me, I'm going to be making love to you all night long. And then she's like, okay, but like, we can still have like good sex though, right? And he's like, doesn't matter if I've got you bent over a sink or like I'm railing into you against a wall or like whatever we're doing. Doesn't matter the type of sex it is.
Making love.
Making love.
Well, and then it's really cute. So they get back to the apartment and he looks nervous. And she likes that he looks a little nervous because she's also nervous. This is a turning point for them.
Yes.
And she says, are you okay? And he says, just trying to find words other than if you're not naked in the next 30 seconds, I can't be responsible for the damage to that dress. She laughed and moved closer. Why do you need other words than those? And he says, because since realizing that I'm in love with you, it feels like I should have better words. And then she looks at him and she says, if you love me, you'll never stop talking like that.
That's right.
And then he looks her dead in her face and says, Addison, if you're not naked in the next 30 seconds, I can't be responsible for potential damage to that dress because he loves her.
He loves her.
By the way,
also, the mom called to ask if Stella could spend the night. So like that's the plan right now is that they have all night at this apartment because Stella's going to spend the night. But like she has nothing, right? She was like, don't worry, I had an extra toothbrush and like we got her in some pajamas of Cooper's and stuff. But this is like totally on the fly sleepover at 5 years old. Yes. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Are you saying that's weird?
No.
Okay.
Not in this case.
Okay.
I'm not ready to let my kids spend the night elsewhere at the moment.
It's one of those things where like she was already babysitting. And so like it tracked, but like
no, I think it's also because of my kids. Like Valor in particular is very attached to routines and like knowing what's going to happen. And so they're like, I think it would be one thing if I told her in advance that she was going to spend the night at this person's place. And like there would be more potential issues if it happens on the fly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. It's really interesting because like I had sleepovers from a very young age. Like I've been having sleepovers for a very long time. And there's so many things, and you and I have talked about this actually, and I don't think it's been on pod, but the way we grew up versus, and now you're a parent and like aware of all of the potential issues that can arise.
The way I grew up
from
versus the way I parent is
and then,
night and day.
Well, and like I don't have kids, but hearing about it because my siblings are so young. Like my siblings are young enough that they could be my children. And it's just interesting because like things that would never have crossed my mind and the reason that they never crossed my mind is because I was really lucky that nothing happened at those sleepovers. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't whatever, but it's just so interesting.
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely.
I feel you. There was a super sexy thing though and like swoony thing to me is where they're about to have sex at this apartment and he says, just tell me, Ad, tell me what you want. And she says, I don't know. I just want you. And he says, I know you do, baby. He said against her neck. And that makes me feel like a fucking king.
Oh.
And I
loved
melted. Oh my God. And then they stop having sex and then they both realize that this doesn't feel right. They really want to be home with the kiddos.
Yeah. This is very relatable too. He's like, hey, do you want to sleep at my place? And she's like, I mean, we kind of are. And he's like, no, I know, but we're here together and the kids are at home and it just feels a little weird. I'm wondering if you're feeling the same. And she's like, yeah, let's go home to the kids. So they end up like sleeping on the couches with the kids, each one with their respective child. And it's very, very cute. And then the only thing that gets said about it in the morning is Stella Stella commenting how cool it is that she borrowed Cooper's clothes and Addison borrowed Gabe's clothes. Very cute.
Yeah, it was very cute. So the next big thing that happens is another time where I would have ripped this man's dick off and shoved it down his throat because she is going on a trip. She's going to be out of town because she travels for work and she's going to be out of town like Wednesday through Sunday or something like that. And when Gabe finds out,
in the hallway,
it's because they were trying to make plans. It's this morning. They're trying to make plans for the next weekend. And she's like, well, we can't do next weekend because Stella's going to be with the babysitter. And he's like, well, the babysitter can come hang out with us. Why is she? And she's like, no, but like the agreement is like, it's going to be at my house, which like, God bless her for not scope creeping on what the person you hired to do is going to be doing without discussing it with them.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
She's like, the agreement is that it's going to be at my house. She's like watching kiddo from the entire time I'm gone, blah, blah, blah. And then and he even comments on it in his head as he's doing this. He's like, I shouldn't have done this in front of the kids, but also like, no regrets.
No
like,
regrets.
This is a man who jumps in face first into everything and then is like, no regrets. And I'm like, maybe a few regrets.
Yeah, maybe a tiny bit. Yeah, so in front of the kids, he's like, oh, well, cancel that. Just have her stay with us. And I grew dragon wings in this moment. My fingers elongated into the sharpest claws.
I love that I don't even have to ask you the questions that I had.
Yeah.
I don't even have to ask you the questions that I had about your thoughts on like some of the choices made in this book because you're just sharing them.
Oh yeah. It was about to be Gabe for dinner. I was going to have Gabe tibia stuck between my teeth after this. Because then he has the audacity.
Melody's like, it rubs the edible lotion on its skin.
Absolutely.
About this shit.
Yeah. Let's really elongate this torture, frankly. Anyway, so he has the fucking audacity to look at this grown-ass, incredible mother in her, you know what? Just another parent in their face and say, well, what's the deal with the babysitter? Have you done a background check? Do you know anything about them? Is she qualified to do this? Sir? Have I fucking hired her? Because if I did, then like...
Well, it's also like, it would be so out, like... there are some parents out there. Yeah, no, their neighbor would offer to do it, and they've met the neighbor like one time, and they'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
That's not Addison.
Is very clearly not this person.
No,
like, buddy.
Who the fuck do you think
on top
you are?
of that, Sir, you haven't even talked to your mom. You work some of these nights.
Thank you.
You have just decided, you take your mother so for granted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the mom is just like fine with it. So maybe that's the dynamic in that household where like it's fine, but like courtesy, bud. At the very least, like ask her if she's okay with it. And like she's more than fine with it because she's like, the kids entertain. It's actually easier to babysit both of them than it is to babysit one.
Yeah. To be totally transparent, that is 150% true.
I'm going to argue that Cooper's not that kid though.
No, he's not. You're right. Yeah, he's pretty self-contained. That's for sure.
Anybody on top of Cooper is going to be a harder babysit. Period.
No, but that's only if like you don't like the info dumping. Because if you put an audience in front of Cooper on which he would prefer to info dump.
He's also, it's not even necessarily like info dumping though. Like this is definitely a kid you could give a book or a coloring book and he's just gonna, he's not independent in the sense that he's gonna go out and do a lot of stuff, but he's very independent in the sense that like, it's very clear in this book, he's not a kid you have to actively entertain.
No. Cooper absolutely, if you get him into a project he's into, you're going to have to get his attention in order to feed and water him at appropriate times.
Well, and
but
like
other than that, he's good.
Luckily Stella is also that kind of kid though. Like she's also a very independent kid. Like you don't really have to mess around and like shit, like, and then together. So like ultimately, yes, it's an easy babysitting gig with the two of them.
And they love each other. Like at certain points in this book, somebody's like, Stella says he's going to be my brother soon. So it's fine. And like they have a really cute bond. But yeah. So instead of turning in to the mother of all dragons, she's like, actually, you make some incredible points. I'm going to cancel with that lady and I'll bring Stella over on Wednesday. Good luck.
That's the other bonkers thing to me. Maybe this is just, I guess this is just a me thing because other people do things like this. But like I have committed to paying this person.
Yeah.
For this thing. And so like, They
probably budgeted with this in mind.
Probably budgeted with this money. So like I wouldn't cancel just for that. And if I did cancel, I'd end up still giving her the money.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I just like the fact that she just last minute is like, hey, actually, because like there's no way that this hasn't been planned for a month and a half. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. Anyway, so we're just going to zippy zap through a lot of this stuff because we got a little bit of book to go. So she goes on this trip and Stella's biggest thing is she has a phobia of thunderstorms. She's terrified of thunder and loud noises. And so everything is fine until the last night of this trip. And then there's a thunderstorm and it is so cute. It is. Yeah. Oh God, this scene melted every part of my body because Cooper comes in and wakes up his dad. And he's like, we need help because Stella's not okay. And Gabe immediately hops right. He's like, all right, let's fucking go. And then they go in and take care of Stella and help her through the thunderstorm. And like, they call Addison to like get like, so Stella can talk to her. And then Addison tells him, he's like, is there anything that I should especially do for her? And Addison, this is huge for her because the reason she we have learned explicitly out loud, like she states this in the book, that the reason she likes hiring people like babysitters is that if they don't follow her rules and what like the guidelines she has put into place for how to interact and deal with her child, she can fire them.
It's very easy. It's like there's no gray area when it comes to these are the expectations. Please carry them out or else, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Whereas with friends or family or whatever, there's like this leeway that she feels uncomfortable with.
Which like fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I feel the same way with like my dogs, you know, like when like having a house sitter for them and stuff. It's nice having a friend do it because like they know that like the dogs love them. But like, boy, I'm real bad. There's a reason I wasn't friends with my employees when I was a manager. I'm not somebody, there are some people who are really capable of having that, like,
doing both, like the friendship and the professional relationship.
yeah, friendship and professional relationship. And I'm not that person.
Sure. Yeah.
It's
that makes
hard.
sense.
Unless
Yeah.
like you're on equal footing with that person. And like the babysitter you hire, that's not equal footing. You are in the power position.
Mhm.
So, but it was so cute. And it was so huge because she lays down her sword. He says, like, is there anything I should do for her? And she says, whatever you think is best. And he's like, what? Because
Yeah.
he knows exactly how big this is. And she's
Mhm.
like, I trust that you're going to do what needs to happen. And so they end up making a lightning-proof blanket fort on his bed and all sleeping in there together. And it's so cute because Stella isn't allowed to sleep in Addison's bed with her. Like, that's just how their household works. And she's like, so, like, how long can I stay here? And he's like, as long as you want. And she's like, what if I fall asleep? And he's like, then you sleep in here.
Yeah,
like,
it's fine.
It's okay. And
It's
then
totally fine.
Addison, everyone is still asleep. And Addison gets home the next day.
Yeah.
Or not home, but like she gets to the house and she goes inside. And Caroline, his mom, is like, oh, nobody else is awake yet, but they're all in Gabe's room. And when she goes up and she's like, what the fuck is happening here? When she sees
loves
the
it.
fort. And then she opens the thing and sees everyone in there, and he's snuggling with Coop, and Stella is just kind of hanging out. And she crawls in and snuggles up Stella and goes back to sleep.
Ah, a family nap is one of the best things that's ever existed in the world.
Yeah.
Family naps are incredible. As long as everybody's on the same page.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
So, okay, they do more parenting stuff together. They're getting closer. Their relationship is blossoming. He's very like, I need to talk her into marrying me and popping out more babies ASAP. I know it's going to be a tough sell, but like that's what I want to do with my life. Yeah. And so I really want her along for the ride. This felt a little bit high-handed to me, but Gabe makes up for it in other ways, you know? I don't know. It felt really weird to be like, she's going to fit perfectly as long as she does pop out that other kid I want.
Well, and I think it's very much one of those things, like, I feel you on that. But
Yeah.
I think if she had really put down her foot, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's one of the reasons, like, he makes up for it in other ways.
yeah. But boy, yeah, there's quite a few things that he says and does in this book where I'm like, all right, bud, I'm going to need you to take like 2 steps back and have a seat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So they go on another swamp boat tour, and in the gift shop, Stella really wants to get Cooper an alligator flashlight. And it seems like it's a really important thing. And Addison finds out that Cooper's been collecting flashlights because he wants to make sure, like, just in case the battery wears out, he has a spare.
Well, and Gabe has learned this as well. So Gabe is aware of the flashlight collection, and it's a new thing for sure. They learn about it that night in the blanket fort. And he's like, weird that my kid's collecting flashlights, but okay, like kids collect though, like especially
he
Cooper.
doesn't read
Cooper's
too
a
much into it.
collector.
Yeah. But then something is niggling in Addison's head. And when they go home, they try to fuck in that laundry room. And he's like, hey, it seems like you're thinking about something. And she's like, actually, I am. I think there might be something more to this flashlight thing, because Gabe hasn't been afraid of the dark, to my knowledge. And Stella said that he's only afraid of the dark at daycare. But like
when he's not around his friends and family. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so daycare's the only place.
Right. Right. So they go upstairs and they start forensically interviewing their children.
That's exactly what they do.
They do. So they start off by like asking really open-ended questions about daycare. What do you like about daycare? What's your least favorite thing about it? They're going back and forth, usually starting with Stella so that Cooper might feel more comfortable divulging afterwards. And finally, it gets to the point where they find out that Cooper doesn't like quiet time, but he says that it's boring. And then Stella has like a weird look on her face. And so Addison's like, hey, babe, I know you want to protect your friend, but if there's something going on, we really need to know. That's the best way to protect your friend. And so Stella's like, older boys at daycare have been shoving Cooper into a cupboard during quiet time and then telling him that they're going to like make him braver about the dark by doing that. And so we're collecting flashlights so that he won't be as scared anymore. And they'll think that, you know, it worked and then they'll stop doing it, basically. And Gabe, understandably, is fucking devastated. Gabe immediately starts self-flagellating, and I totally understood this too, because he's like, what the fuck? My kid didn't come to me with this. He only felt safe telling another 5-year-old. That's fucked. Like, I'm obviously not creating a safe enough space or a space that he knows that I'll help him with things.
Is it because I'm trying to encourage him also to be braver?
Yep.
And like, is this, and he starts going down, like it's that thing where
He
you
spirals.
find out something and all of a sudden you're looking at every interaction with that person differently. You're like, oh my God.
Well, and while they're sitting there talking to the kids, he's like, shit, Addison is so fucking good at this. Like, she's so good at getting them out of their shell.
She hops right on. She's like, I'll go to the daycare tomorrow and handle this.
I'll talk to Miss Linda. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And she's like, she takes offense to it at first. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. You don't want me like involved in this part of your kid's life? And he finally explains to her that like, no, it's not about her. It's about the fact that like he needs to prove to Cooper that he can be the responsible, helpful, you know, sanctuary for him that it seems like other people are for Cooper right now. And one of the things because she says, do you need to prove that to Cooper or yourself? And he is like, fuck, it's definitely me too. And then he says, but also, how can I ask you to add me into your life as another parental figure if I can't do shit like this? You know, like, I don't want to give you all the responsibility.
I'm like, I don't want to I can't just be the in good times and in good health person.
Right.
And she's like, she makes a really interesting point later, though, where she's good at the in bad times. And
she's not
like,
very
that's
good at the other stuff.
And she's
not
good
really
at the,
like the carnival stuff.
And good health. Yeah. And so she like, I love that. And you do, as a parent, I feel like you have to be able to do both. Even if one is your strength, you have to be able to do both. So like, I understood both of them.
But that's also like so as we go through this, he goes on a spiral in which he moves Cooper out of his mom's house into the apartment above the bar.
So that they live on their own. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't know how to cook anything. And so I guess I'm taking my kid on this crash course.
A week.
Oh my God. And like much of it is burnt. And he's got like, you know, not just dark circles under his eyes. Like, he's sallow. He looks terrible. He's obviously exhausted. And she has been checking in with his mom because like they're not really talking right now. They have a bit of a blow up at the single parents group, and he ends up stomping away, and they ask her, like they hold her back, and they're like, you know, it's funny because it seems like this isn't your normal modus operandi either. You know, like, we've seen you with your kid. you're the one who like sits back and lets people work it out for themselves unless they need you to step in.
And they come to you. Yeah. Like,
yes. Unless they request that you
and
intervene.
so you let your 5-year-old daughter do that, but not a grown man. And then she points out, realizes and admits that she controls Stella's life though. So like if it gets to a point where it needs fixing, she can fix it because Stella's 5 years old.
Yeah.
If it gets to a point where it needs fixing, she might not be able to fix an adult's problems. And like her like having to accept and acknowledge this is a full grown person, and that being in a relationship with another full grown person means you're not always in control.
Yeah. At the same time, she's gained a lot of insight from spending time with his family and seeing what it's like to be part of a team raising a kid instead of just all by yourself 100%. And so she's like, you know, there are moments. One of the things I loved when they were in this group, she says, like, I really thought that I knew all the best things for Stella and like nobody could love her like I do. Because one of the other parents says, like, there's only good things when you add people who love your kid to their life. You know, there's never too much of, you know, people who love your kid. It's not possible.
And this is also why you are careful and vet the people you introduce your children to, instead of just being like
willy-nilly. You've been my fuck buddy for 8 months.
For
like
6 months.
The fuck? Anyway, but she says like, one of the things I learned on Thunderstorm Night is that that's not true. I'm not, my way of loving her isn't the best. It isn't correct. She just needs somebody who does love her around. Like, you were perfect with her, even though you did things that I never would have thought of doing. And it's just because, you know, she felt safe with the toolbox that you have, even though it's different from my toolbox. So anyway, she's coming to that realization while he's beating himself to a pulp, emotionally, physically, all the ways, while trying to single parent on his own. Well, single parent on his own, but also like still going to his mom's house 3 times a week for dinner. I'm not throwing stones at that, but I'm also like, Gabe, choose one, you know, like either I don't know. It seems like he's still halfway being a single parent, even though he's making a big fuss.
That was definitely, to me, that track, not from like it made sense from the way their family works, even if
no, of course.
Yeah,
like I said, I'm not throwing stones.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like it didn't even.
And actually, now that I think about it, he looks at that as a failure as well. He's like, and I still fucking go to my mom's house 3 times a week for like, you know, adequate nourishment for my kid.
Well, but also like, it's not just, I know that like, Gabe, you're not just going there for food. Like you are, but also like your mom is so important in Gabe's life.
And it would be fucked
Cooper's
for Cooper
life.
To just have all these people yoinked out of his life.
Gabe, this is already bonkers town what you have done to this child.
Yeah.
Which is fucking disappear into the... This man, apparently his tavern is in the French Quarter. Like, it is walking... it is across the... I can picture this fucking... this square so clearly in my head because I've been there a million times. Is like, apparently his tavern is across the square from Cafe Du Monde. Like,
yeah, which is bananas.
This child is essentially, basically, this kid lives in Metairie, which is like
it's a suburb
just outside. Yeah, it's a suburb, and now you're taking him from that
to metropolitan jazz town.
Not only
like
that,
Cooper
like,
is a kid who likes quiet.
I am not kidding when I tell you that New Orleans never shuts up.
Yeah.
Melody, especially in the French Quarter, there is no such thing as a point where it is quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's already a little bit bananas. But anyway, he ends up talking to his friend who like talks him off the ledge a little. And then she ends up stopping by the house so that the kids can see each other because they're missing each other too. She's going to hang out with Caroline. And Caroline's like, oh no, I need to do a quick disappearing act for no specific reason whatsoever. Goodbye. And he comes home. And so they finally hash it all out. She's like, we can strike a balance, you know, it shouldn't be all on one person, and it shouldn't be, you know, like the community is what makes parenting good and possible and healthy. And I just want to be part of your community. And he's like, God damn, I want you to be the president of my community. Like they finally get to the laundry room and successfully fuck it out. Fantastic. And they're together forever now. I feel like that's the end of the book.
So cute. Yeah, they're like, we have a slight epilogue where they're headed to the courthouse to adopt each other's kid.
Yeah.
And we also find out that she's 2 months pregnant. Unexpectedly.
And like it wasn't all that unexpected because she took out her IUD. And then they were like, but we're not going to like start trying for another kid until after we get all the adoption legal stuff done. But he was in charge of the condoms during that time.
They chose to stop using condoms.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, they chose to stop using condoms together. And I think she may have still had her IUD. But like IUDs aren't.
No, she definitely did not. I know that for a fact because that was one of the things that pinged in my mind.
They decided to like.
Yeah, you weren't not trying.
Well, maybe they did use. I don't. Okay, maybe
I think they still use condoms, but he was in charge of them.
Like I said, that time in the limo is the last time that man's in charge of a condom.
Yeah.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
So anyway, what a fun book. And
it was delightful.
Yeah. Yeah. I
have
selectively bonkers book.
So what a great description for it. It really is. It's like,
yeah,
it would, so much of it like I would just kind of, you know, hand wave a lot of it. And then like a couple of things, I'm just like, pardon the actual flip flop fuck out of me.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're doing what?
And you think it's like totally normal? We can just jazz hands away from it? Okay.
Oh, it was delightful.
It's amazing. All right, Sabrina, what is your lady love?
My lady love is I was at a wedding this weekend and I was living my best genderqueer life.
Hell yes,
this
you were.
At the wedding,
Sabrina
y'all.
Looked so fucking hot at this wedding.
So like the outfit that I ended up wearing was a little bit more aggressively masked than I had intended, but I was still so happy with the way it came out.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Like, because I was like wearing these, like a pair of men's slacks that I have that I love them. And I had a black button down. And instead of wearing a tie, I was wearing this like super duper cute, like diamond collar underneath.
Yeah.
And like, it was great. And then I had on some like burgundy suspenders. And then the pièce de résistance, I was wearing 4-inch heels, like booty heels. Yeah. And I a Southern Cajun wedding. I'm already 5'10", so I was 6'2" in those heels. And let me tell you,
incredible.
There were only like maybe 5 people taller than me.
Hell yeah.
At this wedding. And like, I felt it was great. I loved it. It was wonderful. I got
that pic and I was like, oh my God.
Well, and I just felt really good in it. Like, so one of the things that I'm kind of working through is it's not even like this internalized. I've definitely internalized this idea of like, you wear blank to fancy event. You wear blank to fancy event. And I kind of started this little journey when I went to England for that wedding. And I did wear a dress, but I didn't wear any makeup. I didn't know this. Apparently most people, when they put makeup on their face, it just like, they don't really notice it. The rest, like
their skin doesn't feel
when it's
different
on there. I am constantly hyper aware that there is that I have stuff on my face, and not in because like I asked one of my friends and they said that they do notice it, and I was like, what? Okay, wait. And then we realized that it's not that she notices it, it's that she's aware of it, so she knows not to like to touch her face and like all of these. And I was like, she was like, is that what you're talking about? And I was like, no, if I have makeup on, I am constantly aware
it actively bothers you
stuff on me. Yeah. And I thought that just people who wear makeup
just dealt with it.
And it was like their special interest that made it worth it. And like, I'm sure that there are people that do that, but like, I realized I'm just not that fucking person, and I don't have to be that person.
No, you do not.
And so like I went to that wedding for my friend, and like I did my brows, but like that's different. Like I don't notice brows the same way. And it also, like, even if I did notice it, I don't give a fuck. I never feel sexier than when my brows are done.
Hell yeah.
Like I did that at my friend at Holly's wedding in England, and like then this next step was, because I had the thought to myself when I was getting ready to go to this wedding. I was like, oh man, I think I need to go get a new dress for it. Like, I think I need to go shopping. And I felt this like need, like this requirement essentially to go buy a new, and I was like, but I don't really want to. And I suddenly realized I could just wear slacks. I could just wear slacks.
Hell yeah.
Slacks and a button down is more than fine. Yeah. And I did. And it was my first time not going in a dress to a wedding. And like, it was it was a turning point. And like, wow, I hate, this was another fascinating thing, is that I hate a belt. I fucking hate a belt. Cause like, again, people are like, if you notice that the belt is there, then like it's too tight, or it's like this, or it's just not a good belt for no, it can be the perfect belt. I am constantly aware that like, if I have stuff on my body, including clothing, like I am constantly aware that it is on my body, every piece of it. And like, I know that a belt is there. I hate buckles. I like all of these things. And this was an unintended thing. The suspenders for that outfit were because I didn't have a belt. My friend had suspenders, and I was like, he let me borrow them. And I realized perfectly, oh my God, I'm so used to having weight because of a bra anyway, that like suspenders were bare. Like I didn't even notice that. I was not aware of the suspenders at all. And I was like, oh no, I'm about to be the hipsteriest motherfucker. I think that I might be a suspenders person. Yee. I fucking hate a belt, but God, the suspenders were just so comfy. Like I just didn't even, and like, one of my friends was like, well, yeah, that's what fashion suspenders are for. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I think I'm going to start, like, I think I might be becoming, like, an undershirt and suspenders person. Like,
hell yeah.
Because I fucking hate a belt. I hate a belt. Anyway. So, yeah, that's my lady love. Coming into your, like, clothing comfort and, like, self-presentation. But, yeah, also just my general lady love is sometimes you just need to look at yourself and think, am I the sexiest person in this room?
Mm-hmm.
And then live your life like you are, which is what I did.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, I didn't plan this. I didn't plan this, but my lady love is twofold. One, it is parenting hack, making up songs to get your kids to do things. Okay? But then life hack, using those songs on yourself. So, Valor, we're having a hard time, especially at bedtime, like, you know, getting everything done without some sort of issue or meltdown or, you know, mood swing or whatever. And so one of the big triggers for that is brushing her teeth and swishing with mouthwash. And so Michael came up with this song that makes it so much easier and makes her just like bop around while brushing her teeth and makes her feel like an actual queen. And so I'm going to perform that for you right now. It's short.
I am your rapt audience right now. Me and listener are on the edge of our seat. I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay. So it goes, whoop, shfuck. It's fine. Everything's fine. There was no liquid in that.
That's a weird song.
Thank goodness. Okay. Brushing queen, teeth so clean. Look at that bright white sheen. Ah. So we do it for brushing and swishing. And now, if I'm having a hard time, I just sit there humming while I'm like brushing my teeth and doing whatever else I need to do.
That is one of the cutest things I've ever heard. Brushing queen.
Teeth so clean. Look at that bright white sheen.
Can you send me those lyrics?
Yeah, I will.
I think
you gotta use it on yourself. It helps. It literally helps.
One of my biggest executive dysfunctions is brushing my teeth twice a day, like you're supposed to.
Same.
It's so like we've talked about the habit thing, and like, nope, that's not a habit. That is an active decision every single time. And I think that having a little a little bop would help. I might have to I didn't think about that, but I do that. Like I have a version of Spoonful of Sugar that I sing when I do the dishes. And when I say a version of it, I just mean that I riff and come up with the most random ass lyrics to Spoonful of Sugar while I'm washing dishes. It's so helpful. And I need to embrace, this is one of those moments, Mel, that's a whimsy. That's what you're, that's a whimsical habit. Like, and I think that's a great idea. I might have to bring
little motivation songs. Like, what makes teeth brushing better? I didn't know this, but the answer is ABBA. Okay?
Yeah.
That's just it.
Did I ever tell you I sang with ABBA in the Hollywood Bowl when I was a kid?
No fucking way.
Yeah, I was a part of a professional children's choir and what was left of ABBA anyway.
Sure.
And you know, the replacements. But I was 8 years old and we all sang with ABBA at the Hollywood Bowl. And I, for years after that, if you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, prior to that, it was an astronaut.
Okay.
And after that, it was a go-go dancer in space.
Yes.
Specifically an ABBA-flavored go-go dancer.
The only thing better than an astronaut, you know?
Yeah. Like, I wanted to be a go-go dancer astronaut.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so come up with a little ditty for yourself.
I'm suddenly realizing that, like, anybody who's shocked I'm really into sci-fi alien romance has clearly not been paying attention to literally my entire life.
It's true. Yeah, the seeds were definitely planted.
I would be a human in a cantina so fast. And I always would have been.
The signs were there, Sabrina.
Anyway, Keep being a badass.
Yes. And love yourself as much as you love just bursting out of your skin in a parental rage and eating someone in your foyer because they dared to question whether or not you vetted the babysitter.
Love yourself as much as you love truly and honestly believing that ghosting is the best solution in a
when you move to someone's town, when you become their neighbor.
It will work. And actually, now that I've been in, I was in Louisiana just so recently, reading this was a lot of fun because like she brought up a lot of stuff that is like legit New Orleans that the average tourist isn't necessarily going to know about, like Frenchman Street and like stuff like that. And not that, I mean, it's not like a secret, but like the average person who shows up in New Orleans is not going to be going to Frenchman's. They're going to be going to Bourbon.
Yeah.
Boy, just love yourself as much as you love Louisiana food. Man, they were talking about all the food and stuff, and I was like, oh, God, it really is. It's so good. The food in Louisiana is so fucking good. Yeah. Except this is just a question for you, Erin Nicholas, if you're listening. You keep talking about his grandmother's gumbo.
Yeah, where's that recipe?
No, I just need to know specifically, is it a Creole or a Cajun gumbo? Because I'm not a huge fan of Creole gumbo, but I love a Cajun gumbo. So, like, I need to know how jealous I am that he gets to eat it and I don't.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to our silliness and haranguing. We couldn't do this show without all of you HBs. Next week, we'll be back with Never Love a Highlander by Maya Banks. Like, definitely, for sure. I'm serious. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you next week.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.